I'm Mary Stockwell, and for those of you who couldn't be with us on Sunday, I decided that this lovely cemetery on this beautiful day behind your church would be a good time to video this so that you can get what you missed in case you want to. The title of the sermon today is Be Ye Kind, and I didn't bring the poster that I was going to, so I'll describe it. Alrighty, once upon a time, long ago, I was cleaning out a cupboard in one of the Sunday school rooms in the Franklin, New Hampshire Unitarian Church when I found the poster that you're not really going to see. But it is of a little child with a bunny looking down at it, and there's only 3 words on it: Be ye kind. It spoke to me then and speaks to me now. Over the course of my 25 years as a director of religious education, I served 3 New Hampshire UU churches, and this poster hung in each of my offices. Now my grandchildren see it hanging in my home. I tell them that at Graham's house they can do pretty much what they want. I just have 2 rules: be kind and be safe. That about covers it in my opinion. Be kind and be safe. As an elder, as a Graham, mother, sister, aunt, friend, American, world citizen, human being, what matters most to me is love and kindness. There's so much to say on this subject that I had toyed with the idea of just standing there silently holding the poster, but I can't do that, and I really wouldn't have. With the ongoing war in Ukraine, as well as wars in Ethiopia, Sudan, Yemen, and Afghanistan that aren't getting much news coverage, with the recent celebration of Memorial Day in our country, with the recent massacre in a school in Uvalde, Texas, and the almost daily occurrence of mass shootings, the definition of which to some people is 4 or more people killed, it now seems that there's an acceptance that human beings are violent and are prone to kill each other. I struggle with this. We are all being faced with so many complex and difficult challenges as individuals, as a nation, and as inhabitants of this planet. Is it the worst of times? History will sort that out. How we look at it and how we choose to deal with it is up to us. Perhaps this is where I should divulge that I'm an optimist. I'm blessed to have a naturally upbeat spirit. However, I do feel negative emotions, and I have felt a lot of them recently, and I've experienced deep grief, the deepest being when I lost my mate of 45 years to lung cancer. It was a choice to climb out of that grief, and it took 4 years of living alone in the woods to gain my equilibrium. When my husband and I were dealing with his lung cancer, we shared some of what we were learning at a chapel service on Star Island, which is a special place, a conference center for both UU and UCC folks. Although it was our worst of times, we found some strategies that helped us deal with it, and those strategies are still helping me cope with the challenges facing us all today. First, we chose not to fight the cancer. Instead, we shunned the cancer. We believed that paying attention to something gives it power, so we chose to shun the cancer and to focus our attention and hope on Dan's immune system. Although we used conventional medicine, those doctors said there would be no cure. So I did extensive research, and we chose to try many modalities and alternative treatments. We believed that words matter, and we didn't want to live in a nightmare. So we chose to call our predicament the mother of all challenges. We chose our attitude and reaction or response to deal with this challenge. And lastly, we chose hope. Not a passive wishful hope, but a positive state of hopefulness that enabled us to actively pursue a positive outcome. Did you notice that I used the word chose 6 times in that paragraph? We always have choice. Free will, the Bible calls it. Our power is in the choices we make. We are in a most challenging time right now, no doubt about that. There are many figurative cancers facing all of us. pandemic, inequality, the lack of civility, the expressions of hatred, misinformation, the atrocities of war. Let's leave it there. The list is long. The problems are huge, and I don't want to dwell on them. That's my choice. I don't want to slip into a dark place of powerlessness that can make me feel like wringing my hands and going into hiding. I do not want to give all those lungs power, and I sure don't want to live in despair. Poet Mary Oliver's daunting question tauntingly lingers in the back of my mind. What are you going to do with your one wild and precious life? At age 78, I don't want to miss 1 minute of this life. However, I can't stop the war in Ukraine. I can't reverse climate change. I can't personally protect every child. I'm choosing to stop myself there. Focusing on what I can't do will not help anyone else and will pull me down to a place I don't want to be. I chose instead to remember Everett Hale's words. I'm only one, but still, I am one. I cannot do everything, but still, I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. There are many wonderful organizations and groups of people who are trying to make the world a better place. We can support them and choose to be part of one or more of them. As the words of Helen Keller reminded us in the call to worship, although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. True. However, the media's focus seems to be on the shocking, the gloom and doom, and they give the negatives more power by paying attention to those things. You do not have to watch the bad news and read the details of all the atrocities. You can choose instead to pay attention to and support the many organizations who do good works to overcome the suffering of the world. You can choose to have good news feeds come into your computer daily. You can choose to take an online course in effective altruism, as my son Michael did, Zooming with other smart, caring people around the globe who are trying to figure out how to make the world a better place. To build a better world, we can each find that something we can do. As Gandhi said, be the change. So here's a list of some of the things we can do. First, be aware of our thoughts. You become what you think about all day long, said Ralph Waldo Emerson. Do you allow your thoughts to be negative and despairing? Do you allow your thoughts to fester on shortcomings of yourself and others? Or do you choose to use your incredible gift of imagination to focus on visions and positive possibilities? Do you choose to think about the many blessings you have had, now have, and hope to have in the future? We can control our thoughts with practice. We can choose, despite all the challenges, to say the way, this is the best of times. And we can choose to join the ranks of those who are trying to create the best of times. Second, recognize love. Notice it. Expect it. Our expectations direct our attention and therefore influence what we see. Love shows up in many forms, in many ways. Third, use your words, as my grandchildren are learning, or we're trying to teach them, but choose them wisely. Words matter. I gave the example of saying something's a challenge instead of calling it a nightmare. It changes everything if you say you're concerned instead of worried. I'm concerned about a number of things, but I no longer worry. Let's eliminate warlike words. Instead of waging peace, let's create peace. Then there's the word hate. We use this so casually. I've been working to eliminate this from my vocabulary for years. It's hard. How about changing I hate scam calls? The scam calls are so annoying. And instead of I hate commercials, say I can't stand commercials. Or replace I hate broccoli with I have an aversion to broccoli. Enough. Words matter. Fourth, cultivate curiosity and compassion. Choose to be curious and compassionate about history and what's caused humans to be so inhumane in the past. Be curious and compassionate toward ourselves when something triggers our feelings of anger or animosity. Express curiosity about someone's differing views and listen to their words with compassion, without planning what you'll say to change their minds. Being curious and compassionate requires having an open mind and an open heart. Fifth, choose what you read and what you listen to. There are rational columnists who give you a recap of the facts, and there's also lots of heartwarming news out there. Seek, and ye shall find. Sixth, vote, and help others to vote. Support good candidates, or even consider running yourself. Lastly, spreading love can be easy and fun. Someone ahead of me once paid my tab in the drive-thru at Dunkin' Donuts, and I've now paid in advance for others a few times. Paying it forward feels good. Random acts of kindness lift the spirits of the giver as well as the recipient. Simply put, try love. Be kind. That's my message. Instead of cursing the darkness, I choose to keep my lone candle lit in my window, to keep my own love light shining, and to recognize the divine light within others. I'm going to let Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 have the last word. And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap, if we do not give up. May it be so.